Namaste Freshies, it is Sahara Rose here from eatfeelfresh.com, and I wanted to make this video for all of the Pittas out there. So I'm going to be discussing about the Pitta Dosha in Ayurveda. So if you don't know what that means, I recommend looking through my other videos and going on my website, eatfeelfresh.com, where I have a quiz where you can discover your mind-body type. And that's what I'll be talking about today. I'll be talking about one of the results, which is Pitta, the fire dosha. So people who are Pittas, they naturally contain a lot of heat in their minds and in their bodies. So what does that mean? Well, internally, if you have a lot of heat in you, it means that your digestive fire is very, very strong. So in Ayurveda, they call our digestion our Agni, which is literally the Sanskrit word for fire. So we all have this internal flame inside of us, our Agni, our digestive fire. So people who are Pitta, their Agnis are very, very strong and very, very hot and sometimes a bit too hot. So what that means is they may eat foods and it over digests, they become acidic, they have heartburn, ulcers later on in life. So if you're noticing that you eat food and you feel this sort of like acid reflux feeling, then that's a sign that your Pitta is out of balance. You have too much fire going on in your digestive system. So if you don't know what acid reflux feels like, it sort of feels like a burning or metallic feeling going up your throat. Like after you eat something, you feel like just this kind of like warm feeling going up, but sometimes it hurts and sometimes it's just kind of a weird feeling. Oftentimes it happens after certain Pitta foods, such as nightshade vegetables, which are tomatoes, eggplants, paprikas, and nightshade. Nightshades is basically the word for vegetables that grow at night, and they contain a certain enzyme that Pittas tend to be sensitive to in their guts. So nightshades are something, spices and spicy foods. If you notice you eat a spicy meal and you feel really like acidic and heartburny, then that's a sign that your Pitta is too high. Coffee is another one. Coffee is super, super acidic, and Pittas are naturally already very acidic. So coffee, even though Pittas are drawn towards it because it's a stimulant, will actually overdo the digestive fire and make your Pitta off balance. And any other kind of stimulant, so energy shots and too much tea, green tea, black tea, any sort of caffeinated tea, even stimulating things like too much maca and ginger and things like that can sometimes be too much for Pittas. So Pittas want to work on having a more cooling and alkalizing diet. So cooling foods mean leafy greens, mint leaves, coconut water, things that actually bring your body temperature down, because Pittas, they tend to be hot all the time. So if you notice that, especially at night, you're like hot, you're waking up in a sweat, then that's a sign that your Pitta is too high. A lot of men have Pitta imbalances. They're just really hot all the time. If you sweat a lot, or you go to the gym and you sweat quite profusely, then that's a sign that your Pitta is high, your internal fire is high. So again, more cooling foods, staying away from spices. Another thing to stay away from Pittas is garlic, onions, pungent foods. So garlic and onions, they tend to again, overindulge the digestive fire and make our Pittas off balance. So that's why in a lot of yogic traditions, they actually don't recommend eating garlic and onions, because it can increase your quality of rajas, which is basically aggressiveness, which is a side effect of too much Pitta. So think cooling, think calming, think restorative. So now what does this mean in our minds? Well, Pittas have a lot of fire in their minds. So on the good side, they're very sharp, analytical, organized, they're strong leaders, great speakers, great business people. Think of like a CEO or a lawyer or a business person. That is a very Pitta personality. They're managerial, they can work in a group and tell people exactly what to do. They're very good at being that guiding force because they have a lot of fire within them. They start a task and they get it done. They're super, super organized in their day. They don't stray from one thing to the next. They might even have like a calendar for every single day of the month and every single hour of the day. But at the same time, they get angry if they have to get off their schedules, because they can be a little bit OCD sometimes. So things have to go their way, and when they're out of control, it's too much for them. So they actually need a little bit more of going with the flow and allowing more to spontaneity, a little bit more vata and air and movement into their lives, because, life does not always go according to our schedules. So we have to allow ourselves to have that freedom that if we get knocked off balance, we can be cool with it and go with the flow. Again, if someone has a fiery personality, what does that mean? Well, it means that they are kind of aggressive, maybe they're impatient, they're feisty. So these are side effects of too much Pitta, fiery personality. So they can sometimes become impatient, irritable, they can snap. If you're sitting in traffic and someone cuts you off and you really get angry, that's a sign of Pitta. And you see that a lot happening nowadays because we're living such stressful lives, and it's like we're like volcanoes ready to erupt at any time. So if you're noticing that you're just snapping and getting angry about things that you really know you shouldn't be getting angry over, but you can't help it, it's a physiological response, and that's a sign that your Pitta is too high. So mentally, it's really important for them to practice just breathing, because breathing cools down the body, like really taking a deep breath in, holding it in all the way, and then exhaling out. Just that one breath right there brings you back into yourself and cools down your entire temperature in your mind. It makes you so much more focused, and something that we can all really benefit from. So just practicing that would be just so magical for Pittas. Another thing is yin yoga. So yin yoga is the practice of holding a yoga posture for 2 to 3 minutes passively. So instead of a vinyasa yoga practice where you're like doing like kind of like push-ups with chaturangas and it's very physically active, yin yoga is quite the opposite. So it's named after a yin and a yang. Yang is more aggressive, masculine, Pitta energy, and yin is more feminine, calm, receptive energy. So Pittas need more of that yin. So in yin yoga, you'll, for example, be in a forward fold and just hold it for like 2 to 3 minutes. And, after a minute, you're really starting to feel the stretch. And that's actually how our muscles loosen up. We have to passively hold the pose for a few minutes for our bodies to actually create space. So instead of, being in front of your yoga class and doing all the handstands and showing off in front of everyone and making it into like a fitness class, what they really need is to get really just back to the basics of like making sure the posture is right, even if it might not be the furthest range that they can go, but making sure they're in alignment and breathing through it. So again, if you're Pitta, you might feel acidic, you might feel hot, you might feel heartburn, you need more cooling foods, more hydrating foods, coconut water, leafy greens, mint leaves, salads are fine, steamed vegetables are great. Cooling foods include chickpeas, lots of beans are good. It's really good to stick to a more plant-based diet and staying away from meat products, because meat products, again, they're acidic and they're heat-inducing. That's why in places with very cold temperature, they eat more animal products because it increases our body temperature. But Pittas already have really high body temperatures naturally, so they need more plant-based foods. Another thing is Pittas are the most sensitive to GMOs, pesticides, and other chemicals, so it's very important for them to eat a more plant-based diet, especially an organic diet, because it has way less likelihood of having chemicals than all of the animal products out there that have RGBH growth hormones and so many antibiotics and things that they add to our meat and our dairy. For more information about that, I invite you to just check out what's going on in our meat industry, and it is appalling. And especially if you're a Pitta, you're very sensitive to toxins. So I know you probably crave meat and you need it and you need that power, but it's actually quite the opposite of what you need. You need more cooling and calmness, and that's actually going to make you more powerful than ever before, because your yin and your yang will be complete. Being powerful does not mean who is the loudest and who's the most aggressive and who can get things done the fastest. That is the old patriarchal age, but today we are entering the Aquarian, the more feminine age, and it's about collaboration and connection. And, the people who succeed are the ones who can get the best out of everyone and who can really tap into all of those parts of themselves that they may have ignored in the past. So it's not about climbing the corporate ladder anymore. It's more about collaboration and creating something amazing of your own. So I invite you to tap into that more yin side of you, maybe doing something creative, something that makes you happy even though there's no financial reward for it. Just exploring your passions and spending time in nature, especially spending time by water sources, will really cool you down and make you much more balanced and much more whole. So again, if you're a Pitta type, think cooling, calming, yin yoga, not too much competitiveness and aggressiveness, but more peaceful mindfulness and centeredness. So if you have any questions, I have tons of resources on my website, which is eatfeelfresh.com. I'll post the link in the description. And I have tons of free gifts, articles, recipes, everything you need for setting up your Ayurvedic lifestyle, as well as a 12-week guided program where I guide you step by step on the process of what to eat, what to look for, and how to transform your lifestyle to become balanced in your mind and in your body according to your natural elements. So thank you, Pittas, so much for listening to all of this. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me on my website, eatfeelfresh.com, or follow me on Instagram, eatfeelfresh. Namaste and have an amazing day.